Being Muslim is so cool. It's so legit, and just don't take it for granted. It's literally the best thing that has ever happened to me. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Olivia, aka Suhaila, and I'm gonna be telling you guys the story of how I accepted Islam. I truly believe that my entire life leading up to me like actually accepting Islam was supposed to happen so that once I found Islam, it was just everything that I needed. It was everything I was looking for. It felt like home. It felt like this is where finally, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I belong. And it was just such a great feeling. So my family's Christian, and I started going to church probably like between the ages of 6 and 8. And I remember the first thing that I learned in church or Sunday school was that God, he sees everything, he knows everything, and he hears everything. And for me, like, that was all I needed to know. For if that's the only information I knew, I would be set with that. Just immediately it clicked with me because growing up, I was going through a lot of scary things that no one knew about. No one knew what was happening to me. Just knowing that something as powerful as God knew what I was going through, saw what was happening to me, was just so comforting to me. It was exactly what I needed at that time. And from then on, God was my best friend. Like, I would constantly be praying when I woke up, when I would go to sleep, when throughout the day I was always thinking about God. I was always talking to God. Really cherished and valued that connection. As I continued to go to church, about like the Trinity and how Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God, they're all one, I couldn't accept it. It didn't not only did it not make sense to me, it didn't sit right with me, because I felt like God was superior to all of these things, that God could not be compared to anything else. So I rejected that. I definitely accepted Jesus as a prophet, but I couldn't accept Jesus as God. And anytime I would ask my teachers for any clarification or anything, they would just say, oh, that's the way it is, you just have to have faith, or like, you're not supposed to ask these questions, like as if I was so rude for even thinking this, let alone asking it. I continued to do what I did. I would just pray to God. Always very spiritual. I was always questioning things. Like, what's the purpose of life? I'm supposed to go to school, go to work, make money, go to sleep, wake up, and do it all over again the next day until we die. And that just didn't seem legit thing. Like, that sounds miserable, to be honest. Probably around between like 7th and 9th grade, I just completely stopped religion altogether. I stopped praying, I stopped reading the Bible, I stopped thinking about God. And at this point, I think I started to feel helpless. I wasn't agnostic or like atheist by any means. Like, the purpose of my life was just for bad things to happen to me and just evil people to be in my life. That's what I felt like. And I'm like, this is not what I want to do. Like, I don't know where I signed up for this, but this is not it. I'm just not feeling this whole life thing. Like, something has to stop. Completely gave up on everything, and I felt like if God can't help me, no one can help me. And as I got older, I started to really feel a void within myself. I started to feel like I was just in a really dark place, and I felt like nothing could help me no matter what I did. I started to turn to like worldly things to try to help make myself feel better, to get this sense of happiness. And I would fill myself with all of these things, and I just kept feeling worse and worse and worse, and I needed more of it to make myself feel better. And it was just like this endless toxic cycle that I couldn't get out of. I felt like I was just living in a nightmare that I really just could not wake up from. 11th grade, I needed guidance. I needed something, and I was thinking, okay, you know what? Why don't I'm gonna start going to church again. I'm gonna start reading the Bible. I'm gonna start praying. I'm gonna reconnect with God, and like, this just seems like the best thing that I can do for myself. In the Bible again, and it just didn't do anything for me. It wasn't like inspiring, it wasn't motivating, it wasn't giving me the answers that I was looking for, it wasn't filling this void that I was looking for. When I went to church, I felt great at church for that hour when we were singing, and everything was lit or hype, whatever you want to say. And like I felt good in that moment, and then once I left, it was just I was spiritually dead all over again. I needed structure, a list of things that I can do and not do. Talk to God throughout the day. I needed something more than reading the Bible. I needed something more than going to church once a week. Wasn't finding what I was looking for in God and religion, or if it was it was very like upsetting. Like I feel like, oh my god, this sounds so depressing, but like yeah, it was just very upsetting. I was like, okay, on religion again, and went about my life, and that was it. In high school, a majority, like 99% of my friends were Muslims. Shout out to my Somali Hanalato. So embarrassing to say. I genuinely believed that Christianity was the only religion in the world. Like, I know I was living under a rock. Clearly, I don't know how I thought that, but I did. So even though my friends, they're wearing hijab, they're Muslim, I didn't know that they were Muslim. Like, I had no idea that the hijab had anything to do with religion. How I didn't know this, I don't know. I know, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. So this is how like the idea of Islam like came about into my life. So I was talking with one of my friends, and the topic of religion came up, and we were just talking about Islam. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, okay, there's other religions, okay. I had no idea about other religions. I wasn't feeling like, oh my gosh, let me go look into Islam right now, or let me become Muslim. You know, like I was just very neutral about it. An opinion or like any like strong thoughts about it. I was just very like, oh, okay. A week after that discussion, I just had this lingering thought in my head of just looking to Islam, and I kind of just like kept pushing it away. I'm feeling like, okay, you can't just like become another religion. The religion that you're born with is your religion. So I was just, subhanAllah, I was just so ignorant. After that week, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna look into it. And I remember the first thing that I looked up was the difference between Christianity and Islam, and it was saying that the Bible had been changed, whereas the Quran had stayed exactly the same since it was revealed 1400 years ago. And this, for me, it just hit me. Like, it hit my soul. It went into my soul. It consumed all of me. Just this one this one sentence just changed my life forever. And it really caught my attention. And from then on, okay, I'm so bad at telling stories. Before that, my intention was, I'm gonna look into all of these other religions, and not to become like convert, but just to educate myself, just to see what's out there. Okay, so back to the story. So once I looked that up, I just continued. I was listening to lectures and all of these things, just reading these articles. And I remember that day I downloaded every Islamic app that I could find on my phone. Like, I was just obsessed. Like, honestly, within the first 5 minutes of looking into Islam, I was so obsessed. I was so consumed. Like, I felt at home. I felt like, where has this been all of my life? How have I not found out about this sooner? Like, every single thing that I read, I agreed with. I was like, oh my, everything, and like, it hit me. Like, it went deep into me. Like, I felt it. Every single word that I read, I felt it. Like, it was like something I've never experienced this feeling before, and it felt so good. Like, I felt so good just looking into Islam. I was obsessed. Like, every spare second that I had, I was on the internet looking up Islam, listening to lectures, reading Quran, and I was just all about it. I was loving it. And before I knew it, I was like 6 months into it, like researching Islam every single day, like just all the time. And mind you, none of my friends knew that I was interested in Islam. It was literally between me and Allah, me and God. Like, those are the only beings that knew that I was interested in Islam. So the more that I learned, the more I would like implement what I learned into my life. The first thing that I really loved was the hijab. And ladies, let me tell you, if you are feeling like you need to take off your hijab to feel beautiful, or whatever the case may be, I'll tell you, when I learned about hijab, I was so in love with it. Like, Anytime I saw a girl at school wearing hijab, I'd be like, I would stare. Like, I had no shame, I had no shyness, no manners. Like, I would just stare in awe because I knew why they were dressing like that. It was like they were dressing to impress Allah, and I'm just like, yes, 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 you go. Like, you are killing the game. Looking at them, like, they are so beautiful, mashallah. Especially when I would see someone wearing a jilbab and a bite, I was like, am I the only one that saw the supermodel walking in? Like, I was like, oh my God, America's Next Top Model is in the house. Like, how is no one seeing this? And mind you, like, I was out here, my hair out, my makeup done, tight, everything. Don't want to be conceited, I looked good. But, like, standing next to these girls, I felt so insecure. I was like, get away from me. You are killing the game. I can't, like, I don't want to be near you. MashaAllah, like, oh my God. I was like, you guys are so beautiful. I wanted to cover up. I wanted to be more modest. And honestly, like, if you're not Muslim, you don't really know what modesty is. Like, my idea of modesty was like a tight long sleeve shirt and some tight pants. Like, I felt like if your skin isn't showing, you're modest. Now I would not even consider leaving the house wearing something like that. But I'm so off topic. That I would, like, anyone that was not modest, I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're not cute. Like, I feel like that's so rude to say, but like, you know what I mean? Like, when you have Islam, or like when you have the sweetness of Iman in your heart, you're attracted to what pleases Allah, and you're unattracted to things that displease Allah. Keep on your hijab, you're beautiful, and whoever is worth your time is gonna love the fact that you're dressing to impress Allah, that you are dressing, you're trying to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And see, what's more beautiful than that? And let me tell you, I remember the first time that I put on hijab, I was looking in the mirror like, oh no, no, no. No, I cannot do this. My cheeks are too chubby for this. My face is too round. I was not feeling it. I just felt hideous. And I was so disappointed. Like, anytime my mom would leave the house, I would put on my hijab, I would go put on a skirt, clean the house, listen to Quran, and that was my idea of the perfect weekend. Like, that was so lit to me. Anyways, yeah, hijab was one of the first things that I fell in love with. And like I said, everything that I learned, I would implement it into my life. So I started dressing more modestly, I guess you could say. What I would do is I would wear like a beanie hat, put my hair in this beanie hat, and just wear like a random like dress or skirt or something. I looked like a walking fashion crisis, to be honest. First time I felt like my life had purpose. I was doing things for a positive purpose, a positive reason. Like, I had reason and purpose in my life, and it was such a great feeling, alhamdulillah. Fast Mondays and Thursdays, even though, you know, like I said, at the time I was not Muslim, but the more I learned about it, the more I wanted to like implement these things in my life. So I would basically just not eat or drink, but like anytime it was time to pray, I would just go make dua. And I had the adhan on my phone, so anytime the adhan would go off, like, I'd wake up at Fajr, I would make dua. I would, you know, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib. I was living as a Muslim, but I wasn't Muslim, and I didn't even realize this for a good maybe like 6 months. And then I was like, okay, what am I doing? And I started to realize this because I wanted to wear hijab outside of my house so badly. Like, I just wished I could go outside wearing hijab. Like, that's all I wanted to do. And you know, it's so crazy because people that wear hijab are thinking, I just want to go out of the house without wearing hijab. It was like we just wanted to switch lives. So, and okay, and also another thing, as I was looking into all of this, I wanted to call my friends, be like, hello, assalamu alaikum, abai ma'an, sa'atahay. Like, when are you guys gonna tell me about this? Like, fasting Ramadan, stacking that ajr, praying Laytul Qadr, stacking that ajr, like, you're saying Bismillah before you eat, stacking that ajr, like, how are you just gonna not tell me about this? I was like, okay, I need to start planning what my next move is gonna be, because So I started making dua to Allah to show me a sign, and I I kept making this dua every single day while I continued to look into Islam and fast and make dua and all of these things. And then maybe like 3 or 4 months of making that dua. Okay. One day I came home, I was cutting an apple, it fell open, like it was in slow motion, and I was staring at this apple like, oh my gosh. And I just started crying and said, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, thank you, Allah. It said, okay, at the time, I didn't know what Allah's name looked like in Arabic. I did not know any letters in Arabic, what they meant or anything. It was like my heart just knew what it said. So I called one of my friends, shout out to Rukia. I was like, hey, can you come look at this? Like, what does this say? And she was like, oh my gosh, it says Allah. Let me tell you, I'm not gonna lie, I felt so special. I felt famous in the first heaven, the second heaven, the third heaven, the seventh heaven. Like, I was like, oh my God. I will never forget this moment. Okay, here, let me show you. Yeah, okay. I don't know how to do, I don't even know if you can see this. Yeah, so yeah, she was like, oh my gosh, it says Allah. And I will never forget that feeling. And okay, so this was probably like 8 months of looking into Islam, but still I felt like I wasn't ready, and so nervous. I was 18 at the time. So nervous. I was so nervous about what everyone and anyone was gonna think. I was worried about what my mom was gonna think, what my sisters were gonna think, what my friends were gonna think, what the guy at the grocery store was gonna think, what the guy walking down the street was gonna think. Like, I was just so worried about everyone's opinion, and I don't even know why. Like, why do these people, besides my family and friends, have anything to do with my life? So I was so nervous. And I mean, I was 18, I was still young, and I lived at home, and like that, I just felt like this is a huge life changing decision. Like, here's my sign. I knew I wanted to be Muslim. Even like the first 5 minutes of looking into Islam, I knew I wanted to be Muslim. Like, like it was everything that I wanted, everything that I was looking for. It just filled every single piece in me, and I felt so happy for the first time in my life. And let me tell you, like, I honestly, I never thought happiness was written in my life. Like, I just thought my whole life was just gonna be calamities and just terrible things happening to me, because like that's all it was for most of my life. And you know, finding something that just made sense of everything that had happened to me and everything that will happen, and just life in general, it made so much sense. And so still I wasn't ready. I continued to look into it, and then after a while, I really just felt like I was living a lie. Like, honestly, there was nothing more that I wanted to do than to just make sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just wanted to go pray at the masjid. I wanted to go wear hijab. I just wanted, my whole life, all I wanted to do was just please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I don't know, I just wanted to be able to say La ilaha illallah is worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his last and final messenger. Nothing more than I wanted than that. I could not do it anymore. I could not live without, I feel like I could not live another day without not being able to make sujood to Allah. And I felt like I could die today or tomorrow, and like I just want to die as a Muslim. I want to die with Allah being pleased with me. I want to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knowing that I was a Muslim, and knowing that I tried so hard to live a life that he was pleased with, and not only that he was pleased with, but I was pleased with. I don't know how to explain how much like Islam has just changed my life. Like, it just, oh my gosh, it's the best thing that has ever happened to me. It's literally the best thing that has ever happened to me. Finally, I was like, okay, I called my friends and I was like, I'm ready to take my shahada. And a lot of people were like, are you sure you want to do this? You know, you're young, like live your life while you're young and just, you know, wait till you get married. And I'm like, no, like I don't want someone who wants me when I'm not Muslim. Like I want someone who wants me because I'm striving to please Allah, because my main goal in life is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh my gosh, I was like, do not cry, do not cry. So finally, yeah, I told my friends I want to go take my shahada on a Friday. Honestly, the best day of my life. From start to finish, I looked into Islam for a year. So I started looking into it when I was like 16, going on 17. And then I accepted Islam when I was 18. So alhamdulillah, I've been Muslim for 5 years now. And oh my God. I'm telling you, Islam is just so legit. Like it's the truth. It's, oh my gosh, it's just, I'm so thankful to have been guided and to have this life, because it's given me so much purpose and meaning, and I really would not change it for the world. I would not give up Islam for the world. After I accepted Islam, I immediately I wore hijab to the masjid, and from then on I always wore hijab. Just hijab, but I would dress modestly. I guess, you know, everyone has their own definition of modesty, but I like, alhamdulillah, it was easy for me because before I accepted Islam, I could not wait to wear hijab. I could not wait to wear skirts, wear hijab, jilbabs, abayas. Like that's all I wanted to do. Praying was easy for me, alhamdulillah. I really didn't have issues. I mean, like it was hard. My family was not really too happy about my decision, but so that was hard. But everything else was just easy, that because I had Islam. And alhamdulillah, like I never felt like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like when you have the sweetness of Iman, everything is just easy. Like you could be going through the worst situation, but you know, alhamdulillah, everything is just easy. So when I first started to pray, I started out from YouTube. I just like wrote down like Surah Fatiha and Surah Nas, and I had it in English, but yeah, I read it and I would literally be standing there praying, reading this. Like, yeah, Allah knows best. Allah knows my intentions, but yeah, so alhamdulillah, that's my story. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Advice to give anyone, it's just turn back to Allah before you return back to Allah. Islam is such a blessing. To be Muslim is such a blessing, and don't take it for granted. Fasting during Ramadan with your parents, your family, praying with your family, like everything, it's just, you never had to be convinced. La ilaha illallah. It was just, you were born with it. So don't take it for granted. Islam is so legit. I love it so much. I had never have regretted it a day in my life. It's just giving me so much happiness and peace and contentment that I never thought I would find. And alhamdulillah, I hope you guys benefited. I hope this inspired someone or motivated someone, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.